truly the most amazing feeling if you could imagine absolute love and peace.
A 15-year-old girl passed on unexpectedly, but what happened next has left even skeptics speechless. She claims she met Jesus and was shown 3 massive world events that are coming before the year 2030. Her story is now spreading like wildfire online, and for good reason. According to her, these events aren't just spiritual, they're global, and some have already started unfolding. Was this a warning from heaven? A message for all of us before it's too late? Join us in this video as we break down her near-death experience and the 3 chilling prophecies she brought back with her. You don't want to miss this. Number 23. A flood of fear and faith. The 15-year-old girl who died in the afternoon of April 17th on a hiking trail said the first vision opened like a window, clear and undeniable. Towering waves swallowed coastlines. Familiar cities like Miami, New York, and Tokyo were sinking beneath rising waters. But what shook her most wasn't just the flooding, it was the fear. She could feel it. Jesus stood beside her and spoke gently. The earth groans as creation strains. This is the acceleration of climate patterns. The waters will rise faster than expected. She saw island nations begging for help, their lands vanishing. And yet, amid the chaos, something unexpected happened: hope. Strangers helped each other. Enemies joined hands. Churches turned into safe havens. Humanity began to care in ways it hadn't before. In great trial comes unity that couldn't be found in comfort, Jesus said. Hearts will turn toward one another, and in that turning, many will also find me. So what was the second vision, and what did it say? Keep watching to find out. Number 22. When the lights go out. The vision shifted. Darkness swept across cities one by one. Lights flickered out. Phones died. Computers froze. Entire systems failed. It was as if the world had suddenly gone still. Jesus stood beside her and said, "The systems man has built have become both tower and crutch. A time is coming when they will falter for a season. What was built on pride will be humbled." At first, there was panic, confusion. People didn't know what to do without their devices, but slowly, something beautiful began to emerge. Neighbors, once strangers, started talking. Families shared food and stories. Music drifted through quiet streets. Children laughed and played outside, free from screens. Jesus whispered, "When the lights of man go out, my light shines brighter. Many souls who couldn't hear me through the noise will find me in the silence." But what if the darkness isn't outside? It's within us. Stay tuned to find out what the next vision said. Number 21. The illness beneath the illness. The third vision was the hardest for her to bear. A sickness began to spread, not like COVID, but something new. People grew afraid to touch, to gather, to even speak face to face. But it wasn't just the illness. It was what hid behind it. "I saw something darker," she recalled, like the fear itself was being stirred, used to divide us. Standing beside her, Jesus explained, "A new illness will emerge, but the deeper sickness will be fear. How it's used to separate my children and harden hearts." She watched as some gave in to panic, isolating out of suspicion. But then came the light. Doctors didn't give up. Nurses cared even when it was risky. Neighbors left meals on doorsteps, and prayers, so many prayers, filled homes, hospitals, and even city parks. People refused to let fear win. Jesus looked into her eyes and said, "It's not the disaster that defines the time. It's how hearts respond. Some will blame me, but others will find I was with them all along, waiting with open arms." So what are some other testimonies from people who claim to have died and come back to life? Keep watching to find out. Number 20. Struck by lightning, touched by eternity. It was supposed to be an ordinary day. In 1994, orthopedic surgeon Tony Sikoria was on a trip with his family, making a quick call to his mom from a payphone. But just as he hung up, a bolt of lightning came out of nowhere, and everything changed. He felt his body fly backward, then forward again. Confused, he turned and saw himself lying on the ground. "I'm dead," he thought, not with panic, but with calm certainty. As he watched a woman rush to perform CPR, he floated upstairs and saw his kids getting their faces painted. In that moment, he knew they would be okay. Then came the light. A soft, bluish-white glow surrounded him, and with it, an overwhelming sense of peace. He felt himself rising, accelerating, as moments from his life flashed before him, the good and the painful. "This is the most glorious feeling I have ever had," he thought. And just like that, slam! He was back in his body, gasping for breath. From one testimony to another. What happens when a brush with eternity meets a mother's battle? Let's find out. Number 19. A mother's fight between two worlds. During labor with her daughter, one woman's delivery room turned into a battlefield between life and death. She coded 3 times, twice shocked back, and once revived with a jolt of epinephrine. From above her body, she watched everything unfold, strangely calm as chaos erupted around her. Her twin and husband were speaking to her, begging her not to go. "I kept saying, 'I'm okay, I'm okay,' but they couldn't hear me," she recalled. She saw her doctor yelling, panicked, and ordering a crash cart. "Stop effing paging me! She is flatlining!" he shouted to a nurse. Later, when she woke up and asked why he had cursed, the entire room froze. No one could believe she'd heard that. But then, she flatlined again. This time, something shifted. Floating above her body, she saw her late grandmother waiting. She told me, "You need to go back. Your son and new baby need their mom." She returned, bruised, shaken, but alive. A mother held back from the edge by love and a grandmother's gentle voice. Could the warmth of death reveal a love more alive? Keep watching to find out. Number 18. Wrapped in love beyond the veil. In 2006, Anita Moorjani lay in a coma after a long, painful battle with cancer. Her doctors had given up hope, but while her body was failing, her spirit was wide awake. She said she found herself floating above the hospital bed, able to see everything and more. It was like having 360-degree vision, she recalled. Then she felt a presence, her late father. He gently told her, "You've come as far as you can. If you go further, you won't be able to return." But Anita didn't want to go back. The pain was gone. So was the fear. All that remained was love, pure, total, and unconditional. "I was wrapped in it," she said. "For the first time, I felt like I was home." And yet, something drew her back. 30 hours later, she opened her eyes. Within days, her organs began to recover. Her tumors shrank. Anita Moorjani was healed and transformed. Today, she shares her story with the world, reminding us that even in the shadow of death, love never leaves. But how did an 8-year-old die and come back completely changed? Keep watching to find out. Number 17. The fall that led to heaven. At just 8 years old, Annabelle Beam had already spent most of her life battling 2 rare, life-threatening digestive disorders. Tired and worn down, she was quietly losing hope. Then came the fall. While climbing a tree one day, she sat on a branch nearly 30 feet high. Suddenly, it cracked. Annabelle plunged into a hollow at the base of the tree and was trapped for 6 long hours. What happened next defied all logic. She later told her parents, "It was really bright, and I sat on Jesus' lap." He looked at her with love and said, "When the firefighters get you out, there will be nothing wrong with you." Annabelle asked if she could stay in heaven, but Jesus gently said, "No, I have plans for you to fulfill on earth that you cannot fulfill in heaven." When she woke up, the impossible had happened. Her illness was gone. Her mother later shared the story in the best-selling book Miracles from Heaven, which inspired a film seen around the world. Keep watching to find out more testimonies from people who claim to have died and come back to life. Number 16. Heroin overdose and a visit from a lost friend. In September 2017, after a tragic year and heavy grief, one young man overdosed on heroin. His heart stopped. Paramedics had to hit him with Narcan 3 times before he came back. But during that time, when his body lay unresponsive, his soul was somewhere else entirely. "I was in a pure white room," he remembered, "and there he was. My best friend from high school, the one who'd been assassinated by his own father just a month earlier. He didn't look like he did at the end. He looked young again, happy, untouched by tragedy. I said to him, "You know your dad assassinated you, right?" He just nodded. There wasn't fear or sadness, just peace. They didn't talk about death or where they were. Somehow he knew this wasn't the end, just a visit. When his friend told him it was time to go, everything faded to black. Then, boom, his eyes flew open. Police and paramedics stood over him. "The strangest thing," he said, "I didn't remember it right away. It hit me later, like a memory unfolding. Maybe it was a dream, but I don't think so. I really believe I saw him one last time." What if a moment with the dead prepared the next person on this list for forever? Stay tuned to find out. Number 15. 24 Minutes in Eternity. Tessa Romero was just doing a routine school drop-off when her heart suddenly stopped. For 24 minutes, she had no pulse, no heartbeat. By every medical measure, she was gone. But Tessa says her story didn't end there. In her book, 24 Minutes on the Other Side, she describes watching the chaos from above, looking down at her own lifeless body. And yet, she felt more alive than ever. "I was awake and conscious," she wrote, "but no one could see or hear me. There was no fear, no pain, just peace." For those 24 minutes, Tessa said she experienced something that words could barely contain: freedom from every physical and emotional burden. That brief journey changed everything. Her fear of death vanished, replaced by a quiet confidence that there's something beautiful waiting on the other side. Number 14. Pulled under a train, lifted into light. In 2006, David Ditchfield faced what should have been certain death. He was dragged under a speeding train, but somehow he survived. During the surgery that followed, something beyond this world happened. David found himself in a quiet, dark space, surrounded by glowing orbs pulsing with energy. Then he saw them, beings of light, radiating pure, unconditional love. In that moment, he felt no pain, only peace. When he woke up, he was changed forever. Without any formal training, David began painting vivid scenes of what he saw. He also discovered an incredible gift for music, composing a full symphony from scratch. His debut piece, The Divine Light, brought audiences to their feet. David later shared his powerful journey in the book Shine On, offering a glimpse of what he calls astonishing proof of the life beyond. Can a split second between life and death change everything? Let's find out. Number 13. A fever, a fall, and a choice to return. At just 25, he was burning up with fever, desperate to cool down. Robert stumbled into the shower, hoping cold water would bring relief. But as it hit him, everything went black. He collapsed, face down in the tub. The next moment, he wasn't in pain anymore. "I was looking down at my body from near the ceiling," he remembered. "I felt relief, like I'd finally escaped the fire inside me. There were no lungs, no heartbeat, yet he was still thinking, still him." "Uh-oh," he thought. "I think I'm dead. But hey, this isn't so bad." He studied his body curiously, fascinated to see himself from the back for the first time. Then, behind him, he sensed a tunnel. He didn't see the light at the end, but he knew it was there. The pull was strong. He wanted to go. But then came the question, am I really ready to leave forever? He looked back at his body, young, still full of life, and he made his choice. With focus, he lowered himself back in, like a spirit ducking into a shell, he said. The pain returned instantly. Years later, he saw a book about near-death experiences. Flipping through the pages, he realized he wasn't the only one. "I still don't know exactly what happened," he said, "but I know it was real." What lingers after choosing to return from the brink of eternity? Keep watching to find out. Number 12. Hemingway's Brief Glimpse Beyond. During World War I, a young Ernest Hemingway was serving with the American Red Cross in Italy when a mortar shell exploded near him. The blast tore through his body, and for a moment he believed he had died. But Hemingway didn't describe it with drama or flair. Instead, in his trademark bluntness, he once told a friend, I felt my soul or something coming right out of my body, like you'd pull a silk handkerchief out of a pocket by one corner. He said it drifted away, then circled back. It flew around and then came back and went in again, and I wasn't dead anymore. That fleeting experience never left him. Though he rarely spoke of it publicly, those closest to Hemingway believed it shaped much of his writing, his raw understanding of life, death, and the space in between. So, what happens when time itself bends in the presence of light? Stay tuned to find out. Number 11. Time unfolded in the light. She was only 4 years old, lying in a hospital bed with a dangerously high fever. Her body trembled with sickness, hallucinations, vomiting, confusion. But then something changed. She felt her toes stretch toward the end of the bed, and suddenly, she wasn't in her body anymore. I saw myself lying there, she recalled, and then I began rising. As she floated higher, a strange thing happened. Time unraveled. I began browsing through time, she later wrote. I saw events that happened before I could even speak. There was no fear, no confusion, just calm. She said past, present, and future all existed at once, wrapped together in a quiet stillness. Then she saw a light, radiant and beautiful. She drifted toward it, drawn by a deep longing to touch it. But before she could reach it, pop! Something yanked her back, as if a cord had been pulled tight. She opened her eyes. She was back. Can love reach through death to guide us back home? Keep watching to find out. Number 10. A crash, a misty road, and a familiar face. Emily's car was spinning out of control. She felt the impact, her head snapping, ribs aching, and a sudden flash of white light, then silence. She was no longer in the car, but outside it, staring at herself slumped over the wheel. The vehicle sat sideways in the road, frozen in a surreal stillness. Around her, everything was cloaked in a misty gray haze except the car and the asphalt beneath it. And then, she wasn't alone. Standing beside her was her husband, who had died years earlier in a tragic car accident. Shocked, she blurted out, "You're dead! You're dead!" With a warm laugh, he replied, "I know that." In that brief, strange moment, Emily felt a strange mix of fear and comfort, like she had stepped out of time itself. Moments later, she woke up, back in her car, exactly as she had seen it, sideways in oncoming traffic. "I truly believe the crash jolted my soul out of my body," she later said. "Just for a moment, but it was long enough to know he's still watching over me." Still curious about others who have shared their near-death experiences? Stay tuned to find out. Number 9. Jane Seymour's out-of-body wake-up call. In 1988, while filming Onassis, actress Jane Seymour suffered a terrifying medical crisis. A routine antibiotic injection for bronchitis was mistakenly given into a vein instead of a muscle, sending her into sudden anaphylactic shock. Everything went dark, except for one thing. Jane says she saw a brilliant white light, and then she was above it all. "I was looking down at myself in the bed," she recalled. "The nurse was panicking, jabbing injections into me, trying to save my life, and I was just calmly watching." Later, she told reporters the experience changed her forever. "I realized I wasn't in my body," she said, "and I totally grasped that your body is really just a vehicle. You need to service it, like a car." What was meant to be just another film shoot became a moment that reshaped how she saw life and the body that carries us through it. Number 8. Trapped in a void, he found God's presence in silence. In October 2023, Tommy McDowell lay in an ICU bed, his body shutting down from sepsis. Doctors weren't sure he'd survive, but while his body was failing, his consciousness went somewhere else. He described entering a place unlike anything he'd ever known, a void of complete blackness. "I had no vision, no body, no breath, nothing," McDowell had told Baltimore's 11 News. "It was terrifying. I felt utterly alone." In that overwhelming silence, he cried out, my God, where are you?" And that's when everything changed. From the darkness came a flood of peace, so deep and powerful, he couldn't explain it in words. It was like, whatever your best moment in life was, multiply that by 10,000. That's how good it felt. What began as the scariest moment of his life became a profound encounter with a presence that felt divine. It left Tommy with a new understanding. Even in the deepest darkness, light is never far away. Can silence become the doorway to something far more divine? Let's find out. Number 7. Swept away and shown heaven. At just 19, Lori's rafting trip turned into a nightmare. Swept into dangerous rapids, she was trapped beneath the surface. Water filled her lungs, and then everything went dark. But the darkness didn't last. Suddenly, Lori found herself moving through a tunnel of light, and then she was in a glowing room made of what looked like clouds, though nothing felt solid. Standing before her were 3 beings made of shimmering crystal. Light passed through them like prisms, casting rainbows in every direction. Terrified, Lori backed away, and as if sensing her fear, the figures transformed. They became angels, not with feathers, but with wings that looked like strands of glowing fiber optics. Pure light shone through the fibers, forming every shade of color. She later recalled, "They didn't speak out loud. I just knew what they were saying, like their words came into my mind." They showed her a beautiful golden field, with a tree and a peaceful lake nearby. And then, just like that, she was back. A kayaker had reached her and pulled her to safety. But how do one slip away without even knowing? Keep watching to find out. Number 6. The slides, the screams, and the choice to return. George doesn't remember the moment of the crash, just the aftermath, and what felt like slipping into a dream that was far too real. He found himself beside an enormous, otherworldly tree. It had dozens of slides twisting and spiraling down from its branches. Strangers urged him to choose one, to go down, but something felt off. "I didn't feel safe," George recalled. "I didn't know where they led. Some of them, people were screaming as they slid down." He stepped back, searching for a spot to observe. He didn't recognize a single face. The voices around him tried to persuade him, but he didn't trust them. That's when things shifted. In the real world, doctors had been trying everything to bring him back. Nothing worked until they shocked his heart with paddles. The jolt pulled him out of the strange realm and back into his body. Was it a dream? Was it real? George still wonders. All I know is, I was there, and then I wasn't. What happens when science meets the sacred on the edge of life? Stay tuned to find out. Number 5. The surgeon who saw the other side. In 2008, neurosurgeon Dr. Eban Alexander fell into a coma from a rare and aggressive form of meningitis. His brain was so damaged, doctors gave him less than a 10% chance of survival, and even less hope for recovery without brain damage. But as his body lay unresponsive, something extraordinary unfolded within him. He says he was transported to a place he calls the Gateway Valley, a world more vivid and alive than anything on Earth. "I was rescued by a spinning, clear, white light," he recalled. "It came with a beautiful melody and pulled me through a portal into a realm of vibrant colors, waterfalls, glowing pools, and beings dancing in joy." He remembers angelic choirs echoing through the sky and a mysterious girl riding a butterfly wing, radiating love and peace. After 7 days in a coma, Dr. Alexander woke up, his brain fully intact. That experience led him to write the best-selling book, Proof of Heaven, where he shares what he believes was not a dream, but a glimpse of what lies beyond. How long did it take this next person to come back to life? Let's find out. Number 4. 18 minutes beneath and a soul family above. In 1983, Dave Bennett was the chief engineer aboard an underwater research vessel. One night, a sudden accident threw him overboard. and into the ocean's icy grip. As he sank, fully aware of the signs of oxygen deprivation, something unexpected happened. "I didn't feel panic," he said. "I felt a presence. An all-knowing being was with me, and the darkness began to fade. A soft, radiant light appeared in the distance. Drawn to it, Dave began moving closer. Waves and waves of love wrapped around me," he recalled. "It was the most incredible feeling I've ever known. This love, it didn't just surround me, it changed me." As the light grew, it splintered into millions of tiny lights, each one alive. From them emerged what he called his soul family, beings that weren't from his earthly life, but who somehow knew him deeply. Together, they replayed his entire life, moment by moment, but from every perspective, including those he had hurt or helped. Then came a gentle message: "It's not your time." After 18 minutes underwater, Dave's body shot back to the surface, alive. He was forever changed. Curious about what comes next? Keep watching to find out. Number 3. 20 minutes without a heartbeat and a visit from Jesus. In 2015, 17-year-old Zack Clemens was just another teenager running laps in gym class, until he suddenly collapsed. His heart had stopped, and for 20 long minutes, doctors fought to bring him back. But while his body lay lifeless, Zack says something incredible was happening. "I saw a line of white angels," he recalled. "In the middle was the most beautiful of them all. I didn't know who it was until he got closer. It was Jesus. He put his hand on my shoulder," Zack said, "and he told me, 'You'll be all right.'" Skeptics called the experience a hoax. But one fact is undeniable. Zack was clinically dead for 20 minutes, with no oxygen to his brain, and somehow came back with no damage. For him and his family, it wasn't just survival. It was a miracle and a message. How did someone famous earn a second chance at life? Stay tuned to find out. Number 2. Jamie Foxx's second chance. In April 2023, while filming Back in Action in Atlanta, Oscar-winning actor Jamie Foxx suffered a sudden brain bleed and stroke. He slipped into a coma for nearly 3 weeks. When he finally woke up, he was in a wheelchair, unable to walk, unsure of what came next. But what happened during those silent weeks left a mark on him deeper than any medical chart could show. "It was oddly peaceful," he said. "I was in that tunnel. It was hot in that tunnel." Jamie described having a conversation with God. He said, "Hey, man, I'm gonna give you the second chance. What you gonna do with it?" That question stayed with him. By 2024, Fox was back on stage with a Netflix special titled What Has Happened Was. Promoting the show on Instagram, he summed up his new outlook with one honest post: "Me, thank you God, for my second chance. God, what you gon' do with it? Me, spread joy/laughter every day. God, bet." It wasn't just a comeback, it was a mission. What if survival was just the beginning of the message? Let's find out. Number 1. A prophetic warning for 2030. Most people aren't thinking about 2030, but what if we should be? In a recent conversation between ministers Tomi Arayomi and Katie Souza, a powerful warning emerged. Arayomi recalled a message he says he received from God back in 2020. "Tell them you have 9 years left." Now, with 20s and 30 quickly approaching, the urgency of that word is intensifying. Arayomi believes the world is heading toward a multi-layered famine, one that stretches beyond food. "I'm talking about a famine of credit, a famine of banking, of heating, lighting, electricity," he explained. "What we consider money will go through another revolution." He describes this coming season as a major turning point, one where entire nations will begin shifting back to gold and silver-backed currencies, and prophetic voices will be called into leadership like never before. That's why he says now is the time to build a spiritual and practical refuge, a modern-day Goshen, just as Joseph did in Egypt before the famine came. Souza adds, "We need to pray into who our Ruth is, who our Naomi is. In other words, The relationships we form now could determine how we survive or thrive later. The message is clear. God is not silent about what's coming. He is calling His people to prepare, align, and trust that He will not forsake those who seek Him. Share your thoughts about the revelation shown to these individuals in the comments section below. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you found it interesting. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the next video shown on your screen to catch up on your favorite celebrity stories. See you there.